want to welcome all of our clients, colleagues, business leaders, and influencers. I'm Liz Harper, the partner in charge of the SobelCo Employee Benefits Plan Audit and Consulting Group. Thank you to each and every one of you for being here with us today. We are very pleased to be able to welcome those who have known Sobel for a long time. We think of you as our friends, and we're also very pleased to have those that are new to the community to join us today. Today marks our 6th annual Employee Benefits Plan Symposium. It's been an exciting time, and this year we will continue to be virtual from our homes or our offices. And I'm really optimistic that in May of 2023, we will have the opportunity to host everyone back in person again. We are in the early planning stages, believe it or not, to welcome everyone. Most likely it'll be the first week in May at the Essex Fells Country Club. So please mark your calendars. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to welcome the panelists and I'm going to let them introduce themselves. So we'll start with Jen.
Thanks so much, Liz, and thank you for inviting me to be part of this panel discussion today. My name is Jen Mulrooney, and I'm a regional retirement consultant with American Century Investments. This is a new gig for me. I spent the first 20 plus years of my career on the retirement side, selling 401k plans, defined benefit plans, non-qualified plans, and retirement income products that we'll be talking about today, and then moved over to the asset management side with American Century about 2 years ago.
Thank you, Jen. Bill Vassis, tell us about yourself.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you for letting me be part of this. So I'm the Regional Vice President for Nationwide. I cover all of New Jersey, Westchester, and Rockland County. I've been in the industry for probably 22 plus years, been at Nationwide 16 of those 22 years. So I help support advisors and centers of influences, to talk about anything on the qualified plan side. So.
Thank you, Bill. Natalka Olka.
Thanks, Liz. So I'm Natalka Bucalo of Chartwell Consulting. Chartwell provides investment consulting services to mid-size retirement plans, both defined benefit as well as defined contribution. I've been providing consulting services to the 401k plan market since their inception in the late 80s. And it's been exciting to be a part of the growth and all the changes that we've seen with 401k plans. And like Jen and Bill, I'm very excited to be part of this panel and discuss the things that I'm seeing that are perhaps changing because of the Secure Act, and also the reignited interest in in-plan retirement income options.
Thank you very much, Natalka. Dave, you've joined us as well. You're not on the panel, but I really look at you as my right-hand person leading the EBP audit group. So I'd like you to introduce yourself to those on the webinar today.
Absolutely. Hi, everybody. I'm Dave Capodanno, and as Liz said, I'm a partner here at SobelCo and involved heavily with the EBP plans, as with Liz. So I'm looking forward today to hearing the panel discussion. Thank you.
Excellent. So as we began planning this event, it was really important for me to have a viewpoint from all angles. So, with us, we have retirement consultants, we have someone in the record keeping space, and someone who works very, very prominently in product, right? A product that we're going to talk about today, the income type product. So today, along with that, we're going to be talking about some major forthcoming changes as a result of the Secure Act, which was passed in December of 2019, as well as the proposed changes that are part of, that are anticipated this summer, part of Secure 2.0. As the retirement system has shifted away from traditional pension plans, right? I used to refer to those as the elephant in the room. They're no longer common, and they've been replaced by defined contribution plans, right? One of the topics today that we're going to take a deeper dive into are these lifetime income provisions. And it's piquing our interest at the firm. I mean, we also have a 401k plan, but along with that, it's for our clients, for plan sponsors, plan participants, plan fiduciaries, plan record keepers. It's a very, very important topic that we're going to take a deep dive into today. So thank you. I'm going to get started. Today we're going to start. I'm going to start with Jen. You're in my upper left-hand corner. So Jen, what I want you to do is, can you just describe to me what a lifetime income investment product is?
Absolutely. And I just want to start by clarifying. I think when a lot of people think about lifetime income products, they're thinking about those folks who individuals on the retail side. But the exciting part of the Secure Act is it's now given some fiduciary protections for those in-plan retirement income products. So if you'll indulge me, Liz, I'm going to start with a massive oversimplification of the products. So when we think about these in-plan retirement income products, we think about protecting our assets. So when you think about all of those valuable assets in your life, whether it's your house or your car or your life, you have insurance protecting all of those products. But when you think about your retirement account, it's one of the biggest assets that most of us have, and there's nothing protecting that. So these products, these guaranteed in-plan retirement income products, provide two layers of protection. The first thing that they protect against is market risk. So when you're invested in one of these products, you're guaranteed protection against downside risks. So what I'm saying is, if the market goes down, your balance doesn't go down, which is a great feature for those conservative investors. The second protection it provides is longevity, right? Provides protection against longevity risk. So you're not going to outlive your money. These are guaranteed lifetime income products. So let me just explain how those two protections work. When a participant is using one of these products, they invest in them the same way they invest in any fund in their mutual plan. Any mutual fund or any investment option in their defined contribution plan. So they simply elect to put some of their savings in the product or make some contributions into that fund, into that option. Once that money is in there, the money will grow. It'll be invested in either a target date fund or asset allocation type solution that is wrapped with a guarantee from an insurance company. Once that person gets closer to retirement, we look at the balance in the account. And at age 65, you look at the total sum of the contributions or the market value. Some of these products also have a high watermark. Look at those three values, determine which is the highest, and then strike an income payment for life. So quick example, let's say you have $1 million at age 65, and based on your personal situation, you're getting a 5% payout. You're going to be getting $50,000 a year for life. Now, if you'd simply had an installment payment in your retirement plan, that would probably end in 20 years. But by using one of these guaranteed income products, those payments will continue for the rest of your life. So I think that's the differentiator between these products and having that guarantee in place versus having an installment plan in place. And I think if you ask most people on the panel today, or the folks that are participating, how old the oldest person they know is, it's much older than 85. So you want to make sure that you have payments that are continuing for the amount of time that you're alive, because Social Security alone won't be enough. And as you've said, Liz, most people don't have access to those traditional defined benefit plans that, our parents and grandparents probably had access to as part of their retirement benefits offering.
Excellent. Thank you, Jen, for really simplifying that concept. It's clear. So Bill, in the record keeping space, what I'd like you to do is, can you just describe how this type of investment would be included in a defined contribution plan?
Sure, it's very easy actually. Plan sponsor elects to offer this as another option inside the plan. So a participant would invest in this particular product just like they would in any other mutual fund in the platform. So they can take a portion of their money, all of their money. There's no minimum purchase amount to get into the product. So you can decide how much you want to allocate to that, and to kind of just build on what Jen was talking about. It's really kind of a custom built target date fund by American Century. So it's nice to have that flexibility to kind of be able to put as much much or as little as you want into it.
Mhm. Excellent. Thank you for clarifying that. And I guess I'll just say that not American Century is maybe not the only provider of this type of product.
Right.
So that's just, it's great to just be able to recognize one that
Yep.
everyone knows. Thank you so much. So Natelka, I'd like you to elaborate further on these types of products and how you see them maybe used in some of the retirement plans that you work with.
Oh, certainly. Well, I guess I'll take us back a little bit in time and talk about, when the first 401k plan was actually introduced in the mid to late 80s. And the intent when 401k plans were designed was not to be the sole retirement plan benefit that corporations offered. But lo and behold, 40 years later, the majority of people now only have a 401k plan as a corporate retirement plan offering, and their social security benefits. And unlike a DB plan or social security benefits, your 401k balance and option at the end does not provide you with a retirement income stream. And so it's really left up to an individual plan participant to figure out either a systematic withdrawal system for themselves or to find a lifetime income solution on their own, or perhaps with the assistance of a financial advisor. As a few of the other panelists have already discussed, retirement income plan solutions can be a little bit complex and difficult to understand. They can be costly, particularly outside of a plan if you're looking for one on an individual basis. So oftentimes you're finding that retirement plan participants are not really doing anything to convert their lump sum distribution into a consistent or guaranteed retirement income stream. So I think that really the introduction of an in-plan retirement income option is an important step in offering a plan participant a benefit that looks like and acts like a defined benefit plan payout or their Social Security benefit payout.
Natelka, thank you so much for that information. I'm going to just share a personal story with me. One of my dear friends who has just retired was tackling that issue early in the year, and it really was a difficult decision for her, but the right decision, timing-wise. She hit the jackpot because she converted part of her DC monies, right, investments into this lifetime stream. So I know for her, I'm really relieved that it took away anxiety, and it also just allows her to have this better predictability as to what the future, right, what her future monthly income will be. So I think that that's it can be a really great strategy. Thank you. So we're going to move on. I don't see any questions in the Q&A. What I should mention is if you do have anything that you'd like us to focus on, please post them to the chat or the Q&A. We'll be monitoring that throughout the webinar. So we're going to move on to some other question that that sparked our interest. And Natelka, I'd like to start with you. Can you please explain to me how the Secure Act will spark a transformation of the 401k industry?
Okay, well, I certainly will take a crack at it, Liz. So as you noted earlier, the Secure Act was signed into law in December of 2019, and it represents one of the most significant changes to retirement savings in over a decade. And it seems like throughout the history of 401k plans, every 10 or 15 years, as the industry grows, you have some rules and regulations to help guide the growth and make 401k plan rules more responsive to the growth that we're seeing in the industry. So, for instance, about 25 years ago, we had Regulation 404C that came out and broadly, transformed the 401k market to have broadly diversified investment options. About 12 years ago, we had the Pension Protection Act that came out. And now, 10, 12 years later, the Secure Act has come out. And the Secure Act, as the name implies, Secure stands for setting every community up for retirement enhancement. So how does the Secure Act propose to fulfill on that mandate of enhancing retirement options? And it really focuses in on three things. And that is to make retirement plans more broadly available to plan participants. There's a lot of companies out there that don't offer any type of retirement plan because of size, cost, complexity. So the Secure Act is looking to address some of those issues. It's also looking to find ways to allow participants to save more for retirement and leave it invested for longer. And then the third provision that it's trying to achieve is to preserve retirement income. And that leads us to our topic today. I'm just going to highlight some of the most noteworthy plan-related provisions of the Secure Act to give people an idea of how those three goals might be addressed by the Secure Act. One is the opening of multiple employer plans with the acronym of MEPs. So these are plans that completely unrelated employers would be allowed to establish and maintain jointly. Oftentimes, this might be smaller plans that really sort of can't afford to offer a retirement plan on their own. So this would allow a group of plans to establish a joint plan and benefit from economies of scale. So that certainly will help make retirement plans more accessible to more participants. It also increases the age on minimum required or required minimum distributions, RMDs, from 70.5 to 72. So this will allow participants to leave money in their retirement savings longer and let it grow. It also will address the issue of part-time employees. There's a lot of industries and a lot of companies that have long-term part-time employees that have not been able to participate in retirement plans because of the rules. And those rules are changing such that now if you have either 1 year of service of 1,000 hours or more, or 3 consecutive years of service with 500 hours or more, as a long-term part-time employee, you can participate in the plan. As Jen mentioned earlier, fiduciary safe harbor rules are introduced for plan sponsors insofar as the selection of an annuity provider, and that certainly helps pave the way for those types of products to be offered within an option in the 401k plan. And then I think a sort of an important and an interesting requirement is going to be lifetime income disclosures that will be required annually on a participant's benefit statement, disclosing the amount of retirement income they should be receiving. So the disclosure will have to illustrate the amount of monthly payments that a participant would receive if their plan were to offer a lifetime income option with either, and show it both as a qualified joint and survivor annuity and a single life annuity. And that's how defined benefit plan payments are also shown or delivered to participants. So that disclosure will be required to start to appear annually on participant statements in the second quarter of 2022. So coming soon to a participant statement near you this summer. Participants are going to be seeing these two numbers, and that may, again, spark a lot of questions on their part. They're going to get, a crack at seeing what their lump sum distribution might look like insofar as a retirement income stream. Again, these are not all of the provisions of the Secure Act, but ones that are, directly related, I think, to 401k plan and plan sponsors. And I think that they will be, maybe transformational is a little bit of a strong word to use, but I think that they will really begin shifting the conversation from, the accumulation of retirement assets to the distribution of retirement assets. So, long answer to a short question, but.
Natalka, you did an excellent job. And I must say that what your last point will be extremely eye-opening to some. I think it could cause stress for some and it could cause excitement for others. So that's really, thank you. That was really great information. So Bill, I'd like to move on to you. Oh yes, Natalka.
Oh yeah, no, and I was just going to say, because you mentioned during your intro, and quite correctly so, that the Secure Act 2.0 was passed by the House of Representatives on March 29th of this year. And it further just sort of enhances and expands on a few points of the Secure Act. And I don't mean to make this a Secure Act discussion, but if we want to come back to those, or I may incorporate some of those points in other answers, but that will also reinforce a lot of the benefits and provisions that I just discussed.
Absolutely, Natalka. I can see we have a few Q&A questions on that topic, so we'll cover those in a little in a few minutes. So, Bill, I'd like to move on. Could you share your ideas from a record-keeping perspective?
Sure. I think, the government's obviously focused on getting people through retirement, not just to retirement. And I think that everybody knows that Social Security will probably get you to retirement, but it probably won't get you through retirement. So I think we have to start thinking about getting people through that retirement phase. And I was just at a seminar where I got a lot of stats on a lot of the participant behaviors and things that are going on from plan sponsors. So I'll share some of that with you, because I think we need to restore retirement confidence in a lot of the participants that are out there, because people are less optimistic, I think, about their retirement with the pandemic and everything that's happened. Also, we're in kind of a stormy weather right now with the markets. Markets are kind of jumping all over the place. So I know people are a little bit concerned about that too as well. But as far as, kind of building upon what the government kind of sparked with the Secure Act, some of the survey results, I just got these, so I'll read them to you. 88% of plan sponsors and participants agree that financial security involves being confident that you won't outlive your income, right? So that ties right into this conversation. 8 out of 10 participants report that they are at least somewhat likely to roll in their current retirement plan savings into a guaranteed income investment product if it's available through their employer. The figure actually jumps even higher when you go to ages between 45 to 54. So I think that, those are some pretty interesting stats, as well as, I think, again, people are worried about not having enough from Social Security. You don't have enough in your savings account. You may have saved some money, but you need more time to save. And then obviously inflation and then market volatility. So I think all those kind of play into that on what participants are kind of thinking about. And then also another stat that I got was, I said, how much can you safely spend, in retirement? And 28% of the people that were polled said it's between 4 to 6%. So, one of the products obviously that we have is guaranteed income, 5% for life. So you're kind of hitting right on that target. So that's why we kind of developed this product. And I think it's something that everybody's going to need.
Yeah, I think whoever did that like demonstration, I think it was Natalka, right? You took the $1 million and you really hit the nail right on. Oh, that was Jen. Sorry, Jen. Yeah, you hit the nail right on the head. That was great. So thank you, Bill. So Jen, I would like to know, I know prior to where you work now, which is American Century, you worked at Prudential.
Mhm.
So in those positions, you've worked with a lot of retirement plan consultants and advisors. Um, how do you help them envision this transformation?
Thanks, Liz. And I think, Natalka and Bill did a great job talking about the Secure Act. So I think the part of the transformation or the part of the Secure Act that I've been talking to advisors about is really my favorite topic, which is this retirement income products we've been talking about. But this is why you mentioned I was at Prudential and we started talking about in-plan retirement income back in 2007. And the biggest pushback that I received from plan sponsors and advisors was there are no fiduciary safe harbors in place that'll protect me as the plan sponsor. So if the insurance company goes under or something happens and this guarantee is not available to my participants after they've paid for it for their entire career, I'm at risk and I'm not comfortable with that. So when I'm talking about the Secure Act and how it's transforming, I focus more on the retirement income side. And we broke the law down or the legislation down into three pieces to help advisors and plan sponsors digest it and understand how to apply it to their own 401k plan. And I didn't memorize the legislation, so I'm just going to look at my notes here as I'm talking to you about that. And the first step of that is really to identify the insurer and engage in objective, thorough analytical process. But it really doesn't define the element of the search. So as an advisor and a plan sponsor, it needs to be prudent and you need to document that process to show that you've engaged in that objective, thorough analysis. The second is to consider the cost, features, and benefits. And the thing that stands out to me in this step is the legislation says there is no requirement to choose the lowest cost product, which we've never seen in legislation before. And the reason for that is these products can have an infinite number of features and benefits. So just like when looking at a target date fund, you need to look at a retirement income product that is suitable for your plan and for your participant demographics. So you don't need to choose the lowest cost. You need to use the product that is most suitable. Not to say cost isn't important and you can throw that out the window altogether, but it doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be the defining criteria by which you select the product. And the third one, which was one of the concerns I used to have when speaking about the product, is considering the financial capability of the insurer. So that was the concern. I had the Prudential Income Flex product I used to talk about. And when Prudential had the product, somebody said, okay, well, what happens if Prudential goes away? And, my participants have been paying for this guarantee. The plan sponsor is not at risk here. What the legislation says is that the plan sponsor has to get a written representation annually from the insurer stating that they are in good financial standing with state regulators. So that provision really has alleviated that concern within the Secure Act. So that's how I've been chatting about how this has really been transforming the state of retirement income products for us as part of the passage of the Secure Act.
It's very exciting. So we're certainly, I guess, learning. These conversations are helping us really to better understand, these and how they would fit into our clients and our own retirement planning. So, Bill, I have a question for you about the advantages and disadvantages of incorporating these types of investment options into a defined contribution plan.
Sure. So I have 5 good advantages because with one of Nationwide's product, it's 5% for life, right? So the 5 big key things I'll say is it's guaranteed, it's diversified, it's affordable, it's flexible, and it's simple. So those are kind of the 5 key areas, right? Guaranteed, you're going to be getting a guaranteed 5%, in our product, guaranteed income for life. It's diversified between multiple asset classes. So you're going to benefit from that. It's affordable. It's not like a traditional annuity, I want to say, where the fees can be very embedded and high. It's flexible because it's portable, so you can kind of take it and you don't have to pay a CDSC to get out of it. So it's way more portable and flexible than they've ever been in the past. and it's simple. It's easy to understand. It's not got any complex riders or anything like that, like a lot of these annuity products, other annuity products that are out there. So those are the 5 key advantages. I would say some of the disadvantages, and I don't want to say disadvantages, I'd rather say myths, because they're not really, I don't see them as major disadvantages. You could say inflation could erode the purchasing power of my income stream. You could be giving up control of the assets or a lack of access in case of an emergency. If I die early, I don't get the income benefit I paid for. Too expensive, costs too much. And then lastly, too confusing, too complicated. I think a lot of those things are more myths than realities, because again, this is not a traditional type of an annuity product. It's just guaranteed income for life. So it's way more simpler than that.
Thank you, Bill. And as you look at these products, and you have to really consider what you do today is going to impact you 5, 10, 20 years down the road. So the decision really has to be taking that into consideration as well. So that's really great.
One other thing that I had picked up at the seminar that I was just at, they said that, I know obviously everybody promotes target date funds sometimes with being either the QDIA option or you end up, a lot of participants end up being in the target date funds, because they want to do the set it and forget it type of a investment. But one of the surveys that I saw, I got the stat here, it's 67% of the target date fund investors find lifetime income appealing. So it's kind of changing the mindset from, just target date funds as being the go-to. This is something that can be a little bit more attractive for some people. And I think that, back when, the government kind of was promoting target date funds, prior to 2008, when the market corrected, I thought they were like the greatest things since sliced bread. And then when 2008 happened, you could have 2 different target date funds, both 20/50 funds, but one could be down 60%, the other one could be down 30%. So some are, managed to retirement, some are managed through retirement. They all have different glide paths. So I think that, now it's changing the mindset. I think everybody's backing away from that a little bit more now, and they're trying to build a little bit more of a robust portfolio. And this is something that kind of proves that stat that I just mentioned. They're interested in having that more guaranteed income, because the mindset was they thought that these things were going to give them that guarantee, but it's not. They weren't designed that way. This is something that will help with that. So.
Thank you for clarifying that. Thanks, Bill. So, Natalka, I was very impressed reading in your bio that you worked with the founder of the 401k plan, the first 401k plan. And wow, all I can say is we've definitely come a long way in this industry from when I, started working on benefit plan audits almost 30 years ago to today. I mean, it's done a complete transformation. So can you just share with us your perspective on that timeline since the 401ks were first introduced to us?
Oh, sure. I mean, so yeah, it's hard to believe it's, a little over 40 years that, the first rule that was approved by the IRS under Section 401k was developed. And you're right, Liz, 401k plans have come a long way since then. And as I noted earlier, I think that one of the, important things to understand and appreciate is that initially 401k plans were not designed to replace defined benefit plans. They were really, it was written almost as a top hat plan to sit alongside a defined benefit plan. So fast forward to now, it is the standalone corporate retirement plan. But fortunately, I think that we've seen changes with the growth in the industry that have been responsive to make the 401k plan, a more secure retirement benefit. I mean, 45 years ago, 401k plans had between 1 and 3 investment options when things got started. One of those options was generally a GIC, a guaranteed insurance contract. Now we have very diversified menus, and we have the introduction of target date funds. Rules have changed to increase the amounts that a participant can save. And that's really important because when 401k plans first came out, the IRS rules for how much you could save on a pre-tax basis in a 401k plan, if you ran the numbers or if an actuary ran the numbers, you didn't really stand a chance to accumulate enough money during a career to retire on with 401k plans. So a lot of that has been, updated and introduced with the auto features, automatic enrollment, automatic contribution escalation, catch-up contributions, employer matches. A lot of these things were not part of the 401k world when they first came out. So it's really good to see that the industry is recognizing that we really need to give participants a fighting chance to save enough for retirement. And now we're seeing managed account options, lifetime retirement income options. We're seeing student loan repayment plans being introduced. So again, all these things very responsive to the fact that I think a lot of plan participants really are not comfortable for a variety of reasons in managing their own 401k accounts or managing their own retirement income planning process. So I think the industry has tried to respond with solutions to initially help plan participants accumulate enough money for retirement. And now we're seeing tools and regulations to help participants also decumulate. And I guess, from a historical perspective, sometimes what goes around comes around. And, in essence, we're seeing 401k plans trying to become, or at least have, some of the most positive benefits benefit plan used to offer. And I think participants, the majority of plan participants out there, would like to see the very important issue of retirement security being addressed. And I think that it is being addressed. We might, say more slowly than we would like to see, but I think we're playing a good game of catch up.
Natalka, thank you for sharing these enhancements with us. It's as we audit the benefit plans, what I see are all too often, sometimes a plan is just, it was set, and it hasn't been changed for years. So my request would be for anybody that we work with, that or those that are that are plan sponsors, to really take it seriously and look and see what maybe changes you can make to enhance to further enhance the benefits that you give to your employees. So thank you so much. Let's see. So Jen, American Century has been cutting edge with developing this type of investment fund. Can you just share with us your thoughts on guaranteed income funds?
Absolutely. So Bill talked about a lot of the pros and cons. So I don't want to repeat what he said. I'm going to talk about where I think it's a good fit. I think, obviously, I think it's great for anybody who wants in-plan retirement income, but I think there's a few situations where it's a really nice add to a retirement benefits program. So for example, maybe a company historically offered a defined benefit plan and they had to freeze it, and they want to replicate those plan features in their defined contribution plan. This is a great way to do that. Combine those auto features that Natalka mentioned in the Pension Protection Act with lifetime income, and your defined contribution starts to look a whole lot like a defined benefit plan. Secondly, let's say you've got a lot of people that are really conservatively invested, and they're putting all of their money into a fixed account or a stable value account. Maybe they're earning 1% a year. This allows them to not have to lose sleep at night because of volatility in the market, but still take advantage of the market appreciation. So great solution there too. Or maybe you've got people really close to retirement. Maybe they're 50, 55 and they don't have enough saved. And rather than being more aggressive, they've pulled it back and become more conservative. By having this type of product in place, they don't have to be more conservative because they've got that downside protection, so they can stay invested in the market and invest aggressively because they've got that downside protection feature with these in-plan retirement income products. The other thing that I think this is great for, the other pro that hasn't been mentioned yet, is, other than when I said it earlier, is longevity risk. The first person to live to 150 years old has already been born. So these life expectancies, I know they've slowed a little bit the last few years, but scientists say they're going to continue to grow. Somebody's already going to live to 125, probably in our lifetime, maybe in our children's lifetime, up to 150. So they need to be receiving some sort of income for longer than 20 years, and we don't want them to outlive their retirement income. From a con perspective, Bill talked a little bit about the cost, and I think that's clearly a factor when you're paying for a guarantee on top of a target date fund. But as he mentioned, it's really not as expensive as having some of these products that you can buy as an individual, because you don't have that institutional pricing. The other thing that I think from a pricing standpoint, as a plan sponsor, more of the assets are going to stay in the plan when people retire, because they're leaving the assets in the plan to get that income stream. So in some situations, having those assets in the plan and having a larger plan size is going to help you with negotiating plan fees with your provider. So, Bill, hopefully I'm not calling Nationwide out there, but I'm thinking, the more assets that are in the plan helps you from a bargaining standpoint and negotiating those fees.
Yeah, absolutely. Helps everybody.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jen. So I would like us to move to some Q&A. And so for those of you that I guess will have some questions, if you could just post them, that would be fabulous. Michael Heaslop has a few questions, so I'm going to ask the panel to respond. So his first question is, what are changes to the savers credit and what implications might those have to early savers? So would anybody like to answer that question? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to promise Michael, if no one here has a response, that we will get you a response. I know that my team, Colleen and her group, has your email address, so we will certainly give you a response to that question. Now, I think the next question, the panel will have definitely some insight onto. General question to all panelists. What are some of the shortcomings of the Secure Act 2.0? Are there any? And maybe I'll phrase it like, if we had a wish list, since we're all in the retirement plan space, what maybe didn't they include, that we would want to have included?
Well, I mean, I guess I'll take a stab at that, and it might bring me back to why Secure 2.0 was sort of introduced so quickly, if you will, after the Secure Act was introduced. I mean, a mere 3 years later, and of course, during that period, we had COVID. So, a lot of the things that the Secure Act passed in 2019 were overshadowed and perhaps a little bit delayed with COVID and the CARES Act that sort of came into place to sort of address emergency 401k or defined contribution issues. But I think that in Secure Act 2.0, if there were any, things that were not addressed in the Secure Act, I would say that perhaps some people thought it didn't go far enough. with certain provisions. So for example, on the auto enrollment, an expansion of auto enrollment such that new 401k plans would be required to offer the auto suite of features. So a new 401k plan would have to auto enroll participants between a 3 and 10% level and escalate them by 1% a year up to 10% and a maximum of 15%. So those are optional things that a 401k plan could have offered since the Pension Protection Act. Secure Act didn't address that or broaden it out specifically. Secure 2.0 is sort of saying for new 401k plans, that's required. It's not an option. Of course, participants would still have an option to opt out of those auto features, but the plan sponsor does not have the option of not offering those in a new 401k plan. Also, even though required minimum distributions were increased from 70.5 to 72 years of age, the Secure Act took that up to 75 years of age. So, and that's going to be staged in over the next 10 years. So again, people that don't need to access their 401k benefits initially can leave money invested for longer to help support a retirement income stream. Catch-up contribution limits have been increased. If you're between ages 62 and 64 currently, you can add an additional $6,500 in catch-up contributions to your 401k account. That's going to be increased to $10,000. Interestingly, the catch-up contributions must be made in a Roth format going forward. So the government will allow you to save more and catch up, but they want you to do it with after-tax dollars. And then I would say also there were some more enhancements regarding student loan repayment programs and support with that came out, that the Secure Act began to introduce, and Secure 2.0 is reinforcing it and taking it a step further. So from my perspective, I think that 2 or 3 years after the passing of the Secure Act 2.0, there were some features that plan sponsors or, sort of said, this either doesn't go far enough or we wish it could have been more in this regard. So those are some of the catch-up things occurring in the second part of the Secure Act.
Right. Thank you, Natalka, for sharing that with us. So I guess I would say if I had a wish, I would have wished they asked for even more transparency, right? We talked about, those schedules that are going to be required to come out in later this second half of 2022. Not only will the participant know what the plan will give them as a monthly amount, but it would be nice if it linked as well to the Social Security, so they really have the full package and really understood exactly what they could, predict for the future for them when they are retiring. So that will be on my wish list. We have another question, so I'm going to, and I know the panel will absolutely have some really great information on this. How can a lifetime income product best be added to a traditional menu of investments in a 401k plan?
I can take that one. I mean,
Thank you, Jen.
And Bill, if you want to add on if I missed anything, but as we were just talking about, having one of these products in your 401k plan is simply another investment option. So when you're looking at your 401k lineup and you're choosing your investments, you've got probably 20 fund options in there, and then the question is, selecting that fund, and a portion of your balance. Bill indicated it's anywhere from 0 to 100%, depending on the product that you're using. And then same thing with your future investment elections that are coming in. when you're contributing money, where do you want that money directed? Do you want it to the other investments in your plan, or do you want it going to the lifetime income option? I heard a really interesting comment from an advisor once who said, I have an organization and they want their company contribution directed 100% to this product. So the participant can do whatever they want with their contributions, but we would love to guarantee our portion, our company matching contribution, to create that pension-like feel to the defined contribution plan. So I think you can do it any way that works for your own organization, but it's as simple as adding another fund to your plan menu and allowing participants to either select it for their existing balances in the plan or their future investment elections for contributions being made to the plan.
Excellent. Thank you, Jen, for that insight. Bill, is there anything else that you'd like to add?
No, I mean, Jen kind of said it all. That's not complex at all. So.
That's really interesting. I saw Natalka shaking her head. Yeah, that's really interesting. The employer contributions would go to that type of product. That's really, really, really interesting. So I don't see any other questions in the Q&A. So I think what we're going to do is just jump ahead to one last question that I have to each of you. And what I'd like to do is just share a really great real life story. I shared one earlier about my friend, and I would love to hear a story that you have a takeaway. Thank you.
All right, can I start?
Absolutely, Jen.
All right. So this is one of my favorite things to talk about, because when I was mentioned before, I was at Prudential. We started selling these products in 2007. And I think everybody on the phone probably knows what happened in 08 and 09. So we had a new client come over to Prudential who loved the concept of in-plan retirement income and put it into his plan right away, invested all of his money, and actually rolled money from prior employer plans into the plan. So essentially all of his 401k savings was in the plan, invested in the retirement in-plan income feature. I don't know if the man had a premonition or what. He was 62. He was retiring 3 years later. I think we all know September 2008, we started to see a lot of volatility in the market, a lot of declines in the market. People had to work, maybe 4 or 5 years longer than they anticipated just to make up some of the downturn in the market that they experienced in their own 401k plan. But my client, Dave, did not. He was in the process of building a house in the mountains in North Carolina. He had that downside protection in place. So he was able to continue with his plans to retire at age 65 on time, because he did not experience any of that market volatility in 08 and 09, because he had this safeguard in place and this downside protection with the retirement income product.
Thank you, Jen.
You're welcome.
Bill, you're at the top of my screen.
Yeah.
Right in the middle.
I think, look, people want the guarantee for their income. They want the guarantee of your potential growth. They want to be able to have the guarantee of their control. And they want that guarantee of beneficiary protection too. So I think that you don't have a specific story, but I think that's what participants want, especially from the seminar and conference that I came off of over the past couple of days. It was all about the mindset of participants and what they're looking for, and those kind of 4 things that I just mentioned are kind of what's on people's minds, I think. So you're going to start to see a lot of individuals kind of opt for this going forward. So.
Thank you, Bill. Natalka?
Well, I think that, my story is maybe not about a specific individual, but I think particularly over the last 25 years or so, as I've consulted to 401k plans, something that has been very rewarding to me is participating in designing and delivering employee education and communication programs. And, there's a lot of 401k participants out there that, as I mentioned earlier, might not be really comfortable managing their own 401k account. And a lot of my clients over the years offered employee education programs and communication programs, generally annually, generally timing it perhaps with an employee benefits fair that they were having. And it was really, for me, such a pleasure. I'm so used to working with plan sponsors on, designing and developing 401k plans and solutions and investment menus and lineups. But when you do employee education and communication meetings, you are dealing with the end consumer. You are seeing how they're responding to the plan that you've designed in conjunction with their employer. And it just has been very rewarding to see them develop a better comfort level. I don't think I've trained any future investment managers, and I don't think any of them have run out to become financial planners. But to, provide them with some information and insight and just give them a little bit more comfort as to what tools they have available to them to help them manage through a process that they might not be comfortable with has been really rewarding. And I think it has made me a better consultant on an institutional level because, nothing is, there are people that pay thousands of dollars to conduct surveys to learn what I learned in an employee communication meetings about what participants are looking for, what they need, what they want in a 401k plan. So I can, translate that to their employers and my next client.
Thank you, Natalka. So that leads me to where I'm going to ask each of the panelists to give me just a key takeaway. I'll call it quote unquote a golden nugget. But before we do that, what I something you said just resonated with me, Natalka, in that I think it's your engagement, right? You are so engaged with your clients and your like you said, your ultimate user, right? The plan participants, which is so important today. That we really look so that we can provide those employees that work for us so hard over the years, like, a sound retirement and, constantly being engaged and considering what's going on and what can be changed is really, really important. So that would be my key takeaway. So Bill, can you share your key takeaway?
Yeah, I mean, I think to kind of Natalka's point, we track a lot of the participant activity on our participants, so we know what they're using and what they're not using. So I think it's important to make sure that we're listening to those participants. For example, most participants are just checking their account balance. So I think tailoring the education to the participants is important, right? Because what do most participants do? They check their account balance. So they don't know about, automatic asset rebalancing, or maybe they're not, they don't know, they're not educated about income for life. So I think it's doing a better job of actually knowing the group, knowing the participant base, and breaking it down into different demographics, right? Because a millennial is going to care about something different than somebody that's approaching retirement, right? So somebody that's approaching retirement is going to care more about, what the optimal time to take Social Security is, or what are my healthcare costs going to be in retirement, whereas a millennial isn't going to be. So I think it's you need to tailor that education to be a little bit more laser focused, to making sure that we're educating the participants and the plan sponsors on the things that are available and that mean most to them. Because they see a lot of the other vendors that are out there, they kind of come in and they say, hey, you need to save more money for retirement. I'm like, okay, that's great. I'm like, everybody knows that. I'm like, but what does it mean to me personally? I think that the takeaway is to making sure that, participants know what they have access to and educating them so they can make informed, educated decisions, because they don't know what they don't know. So.
Thank you, Bill. I definitely sense a theme here. So Jen, let's see if you're going to take us in a different direction.
I think I am. So my key takeaway is to start thinking about retirement now, regardless of how old you are. So think about what your income stream is going to look like. A lot of people, I might not be selling mutual funds when I turn age 65, but so what is my income stream going to be? I might not be done working. Maybe you have real estate property and real estate income that will be helping diversify your income stream, or maybe you're going to become a college professor or a travel blogger. But start thinking now what retirement looks like to you and what kind of income stream you're going to need to support that. And your plan and your provider might not offer one of these products yet, but there's other ways to diversify your income stream that you can start thinking about and planning for now to support the type of lifestyle you want to have in retirement.
Thank you, Jen.
You're welcome.
So I guess what I'd like to do now is invite Dave to come on. Dave Capodanno, there you are.
Yes, I'm back.
Yes.
Hey, everybody.
So can you, what is your message to everyone that's listening to this webinar today?
I was, as you went through everything on the Secure Act and everything, and that, I thought the one key thing that I think everybody should take a look at, same with myself, is looking at the that lifetime investment. It's got the key protection, it's got the downside risk, and it's got the longevity. So even personally myself, I got to take a look at our 401k plan, and I think it's something also, as we do our audits, we always come up with our recommendations. And I think something to present to the administrators is to let them know that if they don't have it, take a look at it. Also to, inform the employees when they come in, you do the education as you guys talked about. It's important as well. And I guess the one thing with the lifetime, and I'll just ask this generally, just came out, Fidelity is allowing Bitcoin in. So any general thoughts on that? And is that something you could put into the lifetime investment?
I'm going to start about the lifetime investment piece, and then, I'm sure others will have some feedback on cryptocurrency in 401k plans. It's first and foremost, it's interesting that Fidelity is taking this stance, given what the legislation says about having cryptocurrency in your 401k plan. Mm-hmm. From a lifetime income product, the current products that are in place are target date funds that are already established or an asset allocation product that's already established with a guaranteed wrapper around that. I think most of the insurance companies that are providing the guarantees will consider cryptocurrency too speculative to be something that they would guarantee from a lifetime income perspective. But I guess, Bill, as the insurance company, might want to weigh in on that as well. But right now, I think when they're looking at the risk levels of the investments, I don't think most asset managers and insurance companies would be comfortable wrapping something like cryptocurrency, given the speculative nature of those types of products.
Yeah, there was
I'll chime in with a couple of comments because I think that there's still a lot to be sort of vetted out on this. But normally within a retirement plan, a 401k plan, one of the requirements is that the investments are regulated in some way, shape, or form. And right now, the crypto market, digital currency market, is an unregulated market. So I think they have to sort of address that in some way, shape, or form. Here, we just are still even trying to figure out how we would get private equity or private investments worked into a 401k plan. And, this is, sort of even a leap further. So I think that there's a lot of logistics regarding current custody, valuation, regulation that still needs to be vetted out. And, if Fidelity wants to, sort of lead the charge on that and wade through that, that's just fine. But I don't know if, a year from now or whenever that vetting process is through, that, we're going to, see digital currencies being allowed in a 401k plan for perhaps a variety of reasons.
Right.
Yeah, Natalka, I struggled with the valuation concept. That's what kept going through my mind as being that accountant I am, because I do know that these investments are supposed to be valued at fair value, and that's not how you value like those types of currencies. So that is an interesting accounting concept that we could debate probably next time we speak. But for now, we're just about at maybe 11 minutes left. What I'd like to do is just, if there are any other last minute questions, but if not, it doesn't look like we have any. What I'd like to do really is just do a quick recap. Some of the key words that I took away today were transparency. We are today, I haven't looked in the last hour and a half, but extremely volatile, right? Volatile market. And I think all of us, though, what we do have in common is that the most important person to us as a specialist that work with retirement plan is the individual plan participant, that we really want the best for them. So that we are all in full agreement with. So on behalf of Dave and I and SobelCo, I really want to thank you panelists for your time, your energy that you put into this. We started planning it. I feel like it was still the winter, and now we're finally, here in spring. And I also want to thank everyone that joined us today. We really hope that you found it informative and very, very curious, Dave and I, in planning for next year's symposium. We'd like to know what topics you find interesting, what you'd like to hear us take deeper dives into. Also, I'd like everyone to be aware that we have SobelCo articles that come out on a regular basis, monthly, covering like a wide range of topics that impact, retirement plans, how to be the best plan sponsor, the best plan fiduciary. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, panelists.
Thank you. Yep. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Liz, for pulling together this, I think very important panel on a very timely topic.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Excellent.
Thank you for the opportunity. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Happy spring,
everyone.
everyone. See you soon.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
All right. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye.